Good morning. Hello. It's a little bit chilly. I have some time to sit in the car today. And I remembered to bring my socks with me. I haven't had much of a chance to work on them since last Saturday. So, I need to do for the heel, I'm on the heel flap of these socks, these not so dusty anymore socks. The heel flap is 8 rows of 4. It's a 4-row repeat, and I need to repeat it 8 times. There we go. The other day I sat and I did 1 repeat, 4 rows. I am proud of myself. That is not very much gained inches, but I'm proud of myself because considering how long these sat, any stitch I work on them is progress. When it comes to knitting, I cannot stop in the middle of a row. I cannot. So I think that's part of the reason I'm not confident in myself enough to be able to pick up where I left off. If I feel like I completed a row, then each time I'm starting fresh. I'm not starting with any mistakes that I've made, and I go back and I check the row. This is the sock that I needed to do the lifeline and pull out all the mess. Lifeline got yanked out, but I'm keeping it because, man, this is a significant part of this sock. So it's going into my little whip bag. It's going to stay in there. So I've done 4 rows. I'm going to be sitting in the car now for a little bit. I think I'm going to do another row. I do have my chart, which is helping me so much with these repeats. Every time I finish 1 row, I put an X on it, so I know exactly where I am. So if I have to stop in the middle of the 4-row repeat, I'm okay. I know where I am and I won't get lost. I don't know if I'll always have to knit my socks that way, but for right now, it's keeping me sane and it's keeping me progressing. So I'm gonna sit here for a little bit and do some knit purl slips. The row starts out with 3 knits, slip purlwise. So, so on this one, on the other sock, I'm following a tutorial, and I followed her. I sat there one day and just followed her step by step to get me back in the groove. Last Saturday, we visited on that. So when I started this, I noticed she was saying slip purlwise. So you take your yarn, you pull it purlwise and slip it. And then it's a knit, slip purlwise and a knit. So you are bringing that the working yarn front and back. And it's making this cute little design. Isn't that adorable? Oh, it's showing up so good in the sunlight. It's making this really cute little design. You know, as much as I try to make them the same by working part and part and part and part. This is the one that that I've completed this step. Nope, it ain't on there. This took me a really long time to do, and you really don't think I want to pull it out. So, girls got choices. I did not slip this purlwise, and that's why I don't have that little, reminds me of Morse code. It doesn't have that little line across it. Do I want them to be the same? Does it matter? They are perfect up until then. No mistakes. I even put a lifeline in and redid it. So I know how to do a lifeline. This is 4 row repeated 8 times. It's a lot of rows. I'm not taking that out to make the little dash. This is only 4 rows. And it's cute. I like it. That's a nice little heel detail. But it's not on the other one, and I'm not taking the other one out. So, choices. They won't be the same, which I'll be able to tell my right sock from my left sock. silver lining. Or Lifeline can come back and visit me and I can string the Lifeline in there. I know how. It's not intimidating anymore. And take out the 4 rows and do my slip stitch knitwise, and they will be the same. I need your help. Let me know in the comment box below. Do I rip it out and make them the same? Not a big deal. I can do that. I'm only 4 rows in. Or do I continue on and my socks don't match? Exactly. They match, but not exactly. What should I do, friends? What should I do? Come on, silly Yarny sisters. Socktacular Saturday. I need some input. Actually, I guess I'm not sitting here and knitting on these right now. I think I'm going to wait a couple of days and see what I should do. But this visit is super short and I feel really bad. So when I get home, let's look at some knitting books and some knitting patterns. And I have quite a few sock knitting books to look at. Let's look at one of them when we get home. I feel like we didn't really get to visit very much today because of my slip up. We'll do that. I'll wait a couple of days. It's not gonna get dusty in a couple of days. It sat there for like over a year, probably almost 2. All right, safety first. Let's go home and look at some knit books. Whew. So yesterday I stopped by Michael's and I was looking at sock yarn selection. I noticed that Hobby Lobby, they have sock weight yarn. They don't really have sock yarn with a little bit of give and take that would be appropriate for socks. So I went over to Michael's. I also needed some thread in teal for a very special Valentine's project that I'm working on. I'm making little pins, or it's going to have a keychain feature too. Sadie, we have company. So I needed some teal Aunt Lydia's crochet thread. It was $6.49. Hobby Lobby, it's $1.99 every day. I just couldn't believe it. But Hobby Lobby didn't have the right color. So I guess Michael's got the corner on teal. I think it was something peacock color. But all their Christmas stuff is 70% off. So those little crochet kits, and they have some that aren't super Christmassy. They had a little pink box that your frills on the top, you could go rogue with that from the pattern and make it a Valentine's box or a birthday box. They did have a little cat, and they had the little puppy made out of the chenille. So I bought those and added them to the Wooblin' Wednesday. But that's not why we're here. I looked at their sock yarn. They had about 6 colors in the croy, the wool croy. Nothing else. Man, all this specialty stuff is really, all the specialty yarn is really heading to online producers. That's the only way to get them. Coffee, splash of whole milk, and 2 little drops of peppermint extract. Hits the spot. All right, I promised you books. Okay, this first book, I bought it without caring that it was knitting. I was a pure crocheter, no interest in knitting at all, but I had to have this book, and you'll see why. It's adorably shaped. Oh, I love funky shaped books. So this book was bought just to be pretty. It's in the yarn cellar, which has glass walls on it. And then I have a whole row of amigurumi, really thin cotton, Hobie, just the really thin little skeins, the cutie pies. But every time I opened the door, they would all unfold themselves and single file out the door. So I put this book, wedged it in the corner, and so all my yarns are stacked, and this little foot holds the door. Knit socks. Bought this one a super long time ago. My first introduction to the possibilities of maybe someday knitting socks. The thrift store put this ugly sticker on it. Occasionally I sit there and I like gently pick it off. I didn't want to use the Goo Gone on it, the citrus smelling Goo Gone, because I didn't want it to damage the cardboard of the book. I might just have to do it lightly, or a little rubbing alcohol lightly. That'll help too. The first sock in this pattern, lots of detail on the anatomy of a sock, but the very, very first sock, they called the starter stockinette. Just to get your fundamentals down. It's a vanilla sock pattern. One of the things, once I started digging into sock construction, that I really, really liked was the fanciful, the creative names that people come up for their design concepts. There's one that floats around, and I hear it every once in a while. I'll just have to smile. It's called Fish Kiss Heel, or is it Toe? Fish Kiss. It just sounds cute. Oh, these are my vanilla socks. I did a afterthought Fish Kiss Heel and Toe. What? What did you make? I made fun. The book has a lot of beautiful socks. Relax, breathe. This has an interesting cuff on it. It's called a rolled cuff. If you're not into that ribbing, that 1x1, that 2x2, that 2x1 ribbing with alternating your knits and purls. Lots of beautiful textures. So this book really did pique my curiosity. I do like the style in which the author wrote the pattern. It's in a chart. The left side of the chart is very detailed into the description of the stitches that you're using. And then they have sizing alterations. And then they give you in worsted weight and fingering weight what your stitch count should be to meet the size requirements. Just a really good book. It goes through talking about measuring, different techniques of casting on. It even has a whole section where it talks about how to make your slipper socks less slippery. So there's a lot of ideas out there how to do it. People sew things on. They use the t-shirt puffy paint. They use hot glue gun. There's so many different ways. So this is a really cute little book talking about, I don't know if it's readily available anymore. It says Library of Congress, catalog and published data. 1942. No, this book isn't that old. No way. Oh, okay. 2004. I don't know why they would put that on there. Like, they didn't, no. 2004, Betsy Lee McCarthy. She did have some other publications that long ago. I don't have the brain power for that one. 2004. And then over time, like a lot of fellow sockers, I decided maybe I should start with a skill that I know and then move along to all those beautiful color work socks that I've seen. I want a pair of socks with little dancing sheep in a field going all the way around. I'm like, I want the color work. I want those Fair Isle designs of smoothless transition from color to color. Someday, maybe we'll see. Let's just start with something I know, crochet socks. Let's take the guesswork out of the fundamentals and just work on what I'm trying to do. So I picked up this book off of Facebook Marketplace, an amazing place to find patterns, materials. If you're just dabbling in the hobby and you don't want to throw a whole bunch of money at new supplies, pick up somebody else's new supplies. This one came from a mom and daughter. They had a shop, and their shop was called The Knit Picker, and this was part of their reference library that they kept in their yarn shop. I believe it was in another state. They moved to California where it was a little warmer, not today, and closed up shop and brought all their inventory with them. So they had a store set up in their garage. It all sold very quickly at rock bottom prices. And I have a bookmark, a little piece of paper bookmark for the socks that I actually made. And I think it was the brown ones that I showed you last week before. Ribbed hiker, basic vanilla sock with a really long ribbed cuff. So as you make socks, you find out what you truly like about socks. That rolled cuff that I showed you in the last book, oh, it would not go for me. I like a tight, snug sock. Not snug on the cast on, but I like that ribbing to feel like it's holding my sock up, right? And if it's not an ankle sock, then I like that long ribbed. That's nice. That's nice. Basic written pattern. Sock patterns typically break down into the sections, the heel, the instructions, heel turn instructions, gusset instructions. It breaks it all down. A lot of nice socks in here. I have made that heel. I do like the textured ribbing, but my shoes don't like the texture on the heel. It tends to like push it up over my shoe or below my shoe. If I wear my work Crocs, perfect, doesn't seem to matter. If I'm walking around the house, it feels really nice to have something hug the heel of my foot. This book, the best part of this book was they give a formula to help you size your socks. Nobody wants a sloppy sock, right? It sucks into your shoe. It doesn't go back to shape. This book was amazing. So it has a formula. I don't know if that's like proprietorship, for measuring your foot so that you know what gauge you're supposed to be using to meet. And I measured and I put a Post-it note. When I make these socks, I like the foot portion to be 9 inches. I use a size E hook. It says size E hook is already large. Can't increase hook size to size up. Maybe thicker yarn. Cascade fixation is okay. 3-weight. I'm glad I made the note. So I guess I did attempt that one before I actually made that one. I have a pair of those. I've made them. With the crochet socks, I noticed there was a lot more, there was less intimidating patterns. And of course, everyone needs a pair of funky socks, don't they? Those are funky. Like if you're making an amigurumi and you have to make like all those toes for the animal or the scales down the back of a dinosaur or a dragon or something. Can you imagine making all them dang little toes, one smaller than the next? There's like some ribbing on the front. It's got that heel that I like, nice and long. I'd make that ribbed. What are they called? Wiggly toes. This pattern is by Mary Jane Wood. Oh, so this one's a collaboration book. Does it start with the dang toes? It starts with the dang toes. Featured technique, featured stitches, materials. How would you feel if you had fabric between your toes? Each one would be warm. Your toes would be warm. I don't know. That's an awful lot of work to possibly not wear them, huh? But they'd be in my collection. I could hang them up on the wall. This is one of those things where I start making it and my husband asks, what are you making? Oh, I'm making socks with toes for you. He would tell me not to waste my time. All right, somewhere along my journeys, I found a book that just spoke to my heart. Knitting Without Tears. This is a really fun book. Elizabeth Zimmerman. And then that name sounds very familiar. Zimmerman, there is a lady on YouTube, but I don't know if they're related. This book was written in 1979. The Zimmerman I'm thinking, I think it's Sarah Zimmerman. She's a lot younger than publishing a book in 1971. I don't know. Name sounds very familiar. Maybe it's a family member. This book was written in 1971. It is a very good read. Very captivating, very descriptive, which it had to be because the pictures in this book suck. And that is something that I really appreciate when I knit or try to crochet socks, is that we have YouTube and I can play pause with the utmost patience. No one gets frustrated with me. I can take my time with it. I could revisit it. And when I'm looking at a book that doesn't have pictures, I'm trying to read it and visualize what I'm supposed to be doing. I am reading it out loud, hearing myself go through the thought process. The first picture on this book doesn't appear till page 56, and they're all these black and white photographs. I don't know if in the 70s it was just super expensive to publish a book. There's a lot of handwritten color work graphs. And this is not just necessarily about socks. This is basic knitting skills, which I tend to have to refresh myself when I'm knitting socks. Is in my brain, it's not as fluid as crocheting, so there's a lot of little cues that pop into my head as I'm working. If I have to purl, I go back. And then my head is like to the back, because you put the yarn to the back. Or if I'm knitting, a little thing will pop in my head and go front, to the front. And then, okay, that's a knit to the front. And then also I noticed with crochet, there's a lot of right, left-handed acknowledgement in tutorials and books and that sort of thing. In knitting, I'm not seeing it as much. So I don't know if that's part of my struggle with just knitting in general. No clue. So after I went to the Lambtown Festival and saw these beautiful socks and sock yarn with just the cushiest little soles, there's a little bookstore in Dixon, California, tiny, Friends of the Library. It's in the downtown area. You can get coffee, you could get lunch, and there's a little bookstore in there with nooks and sitting chairs. Oh, it's an awesome place just to be. You just went to Lambtown, you're in the hustle and bustle and all the excitement. It's fun to cozy up with a book in a corner and just then take it home with you, because they're all for sale. I picked up the sock knitting because of the pictures. Oh my gosh, isn't that beautiful? Intimidating, But maybe someone someday, I don't know if I can. There's just artwork, just incredible pictures in this book of socks. And, you know, here's a vanilla sock. It's all about the yarn. Maybe that's the first step in creating beautiful, lovely artworks for my feet. Just go with the yarn. Just go with beautiful colors already in there. Have fun with it. They don't have to match. They match together. They go well together. They don't have to be identical. What do they say about when you're plucking your eyebrows? They're close cousins. They're not twins. They're socks. They're on your feet. Anyone that's willing to ask you to take off your feet, get down on the ground and inspect your socks, they'll be proud that you just made them. It's a cute little gusset in here. Definitely a defined sole on the sock with a top and a bottom. Just some beautiful pictures I've enjoyed looking at. Yeah, see? Oh, and look, toe detail. I think the creativity part must kick in after the fundamentals are well established, right? Is that what I'm waiting for? Because I'm still feeling vanilla. And you know, some people are vanilla for life. Cabling. All those tiny little bar pieces that come in crochet kits that are not for crochet. I have a stockpile of those. Maybe I'll get to use them someday. Ah, there's one I wanted to show you. Are you ready? Ah, look at those. I'd be floored if I could make those and put them on my feet. So those are a few of my, there's one just knitting. I wonder if she talks about socks so it could be relatable. I think there is a sock pattern or a slipper pattern in there. Just reading, just getting in there and checking out the materials and figuring out what works for you, or just exposing yourself to the terminology. Sometimes I'll just turn on a sock knitting YouTube video just to listen to it. Just immerse yourself. It's not necessarily a whole new craft or a whole new hobby. I just think of it as an expansion on our fundamental skills that we already have as Yarnies. Well, thank you very much for visiting with me. I definitely enjoy looking at books with you. Please remember, are you team rip it out, or are you team keep on going, it's okay? They don't have to match exactly. For the socks that I'm currently working on, taking my time. This is slow fashion, people. I'm going as slow as I can. All right, take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. Goodbye.